Perfect. So the strategy that I am choosing today is going to be the predictable routines and signals. And the basic overview of this one is for student or English learners to be comfortable and have them have reduced anxiety when they go into your classroom, so that they kind of know the day by day routines that your class participates in. Okay, so the step by step pretty much describes classroom organization first. So usually when students walk in, they should kind of know exactly where the things are that they can have access to in the classroom. So for example, in my classroom that I have right now, it's for a fifth grade class, students know exactly where the printer paper is. They know exactly where they could get pencils, erasers, scissors, paint, uh, you know, anything that they would need, pencil sharpener for the day. Uh, also, uh, establishing routines is important because students don't really have to think about what they have to do. They just already know before the day starts. So that actually reduces anxiety for our English learners, because uh, they don't have to really always be thinking about whether or not they're doing the right thing. They'll just know because they'll be part of the group, just doing the daily activities that everyone's engaged in. Model routines is another component for predictable routines. Uh, it says model each new routine as it is established. So there's not that many routines that I use. Again, it's the same every day. So I usually start with a morning meeting and go straight into an intervention block, and then the main block that we have for my class. So it's usually going to be a little bit of writing, math, and a little bit of ELA. Okay, so with those three blocks, usually students already know what is coming when a specific time hits on the clock. Okay, let's see the directions. So students already know when we get into these blocks, we have usually a small assignment that we have to do for each of them. If there is a new concept that I have to go over, I'll let them know I'm going to need to take a little bit of their time, and that they're going to have to pay attention before we get into the group work to practice that lesson. Okay, and one of the new things that I did not use or don't use, and I think I should begin using, is the self-evaluation rubric. It's I usually establish my routines, and I don't ask whether or not the students understand what they're supposed to be doing. But I can see that could be an area of opportunity for me as I continue uh, as an educator. So it says routines and procedures are established, yes, and changed. That's the part I'm not doing when needed. Students are given periodic reviews. Areas of the classroom are labeled to support students' use of them. So anchor charts are a valuable tool that I use in the classroom. So I have a writing wall. There is an ELA wall with some of the grammar and English language uh, skills that I need the students to know for that specific lesson or passage type that we're doing. And there's also a math wall. So with those three different walls that I have in the classroom, I do add to them periodically as we change lessons and get into a new topic. But for the most part, some of the main or big ideas that I need students to know will stay there for the entire year. Okay. Let me see. It also has a component here. It says to assess to determine appropriate follow-up instruction. So when giving directions in the classroom, be aware of how your English learners respond. Oh, yes. For the most part, my when I give instructions on even a new lesson, I take care to look ahead and see, okay, what words would I have to define first before I say it in English? Because again, our English learners do not know some of the academic language that you'll be using when you're explaining a lesson. So go over those first ahead of time, so that yes, you can answer those questions preemptively before actually teaching the lesson, and then you get the question of what does that word mean in Spanish. So yes, that happened to me a few times where I was teaching a lesson. I think it was on fractions, and when I was thinking of the word denominator and numerator, those were again academic language words, but I did not look those up, and I got the question, ¿qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso en español? And I was thinking, like, wait, I really don't know the word in Spanish. So yes, look ahead and think of the words, academic words that you usually use and just do a quick Google search on how to say those in Spanish. Okay, this is a checklist for observing student use of classroom routines and signals. I don't have a checklist for the classroom routines and signals. Again, it's very automatic. Once students know the routine, it's just the same every single day. The applications and examples. This is Miss Newsom. Miss Newsom, her strategy was to use names at the top of the paper for the at the top of the assignment or class assignment to let the students know whether or not they will be doing group work for that day. So Miss Newsom, I guess for the easier assignments that Miss Newsom deemed the students wouldn't really need collaboration with, she just put their own name on that paper. But if she kind of knew that the assignment was a little bit more challenging and required or will require more support for the English learners. She said she put two names on there, and that signified a signal to the students that yes, they will be able to work in partners, but with that person whose name is on the paper. So that's actually a good solution. Yeah, good solution there for signaling. And in conclusion, the TESOL, or the use of technology to help support our English learners. For my grade levels, fifth grade, I believe the second one said it was going to be using vocabulary. So make sure you have vocabulary in Spanish next to your academic language words on the wall. So normally one of the things I did was for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, I put the picture of the symbol on the wall. So multiplication, addition. So you see the symbol on the wall, and I put the words in Spanish to right next to the symbol and in English, so that students knew the academic language for both languages. It mostly was for my English learners, but it's also beneficial for my other students that kind of wanted to know, Spanish as well. But you would have the symbols and the Spanish word right next to it, so that students, your English learners, can now get the word for the specific academic language symbol that they needed to know in English. And this is very similar to what we do in high school for students that are learning Spanish. We actually put Spanish words on objects that we kind of want to define. So you'll put, I believe, a sign piso on the floor. You put a vocab card on the floor. Pizarra, you put that on the board. You'll put let me see, what was the word for door? Puerta. You put that vocab word on the door, so it's very similar. It definitely helps us remember what word goes with what object. So it's very similar, and it's a good idea to put that in the classroom so that it'll help with retention with the academic language.